For many years, China has been gradually occupying the territories of the Philippines in the West Philippine Sea. China has been doing this for a long time, with almost no significant intervention from the Philippines, especially since China is known for its strong economy and military, especially its navy. Recently, the Philippines has shown great courage in facing this powerful country. The story of David versus Goliath seems to be coming back to life. Although at first the Philippines seemed to be hesitating to give a strong declaration against China, it is gradually changing. Tensions in the South China Sea are often the result of China's extensive occupation of almost 1.4 million square miles of the sea. In addition to the Philippines, countries such as Brunei, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Taiwan are also occupying the islands. The area is fertile and rich, including 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas and 11 billion barrels of oil. As a result, China militarized the region, building artificial bases with missile systems, fighter jets, and other military equipment. China's aggressive move drew widespread criticism from various countries. However, it seems that the Philippines is the only one ready to boldly face China's ambitions in the region. The separation between the two countries is usually occurred in the second Thomas Shoal or Ayungin Shoal and Shoal. The Ayungin Shoal, an 11 nautical mile basin, is part of the Spratly Islands and can be found within 200 nautical miles of Palawan. Although it is inhabited by various countries, the Philippines has a strong military presence in the area. It uses the LST-542 class tank landing ship called the Sierra Madre. This ship, formerly used by the U.S. Navy during World War II, is the Philippines' temporary military base after the Vietnam War, and until now, it has served as a symbol of national defense in our territory. In 1999, the Philippine Navy intended to lock down the Sierra Madre ship in the second Thomas Shoal as a symbol of the country's commitment to the territory and to maintain the military presence in the area. For 25 years, it has continued to serve as a guard of the Philippines. Although the ship became a mess, despite its condition, it is still an official part of the Philippine Navy. Any attack on this ship is considered an act of war. The Sierra Madre became a hurdle for China to get the second Thomas Shoal, a strategic location due to the richness of fisheries and the nearby reed bank, rich in oil and natural gas. The Escalating Shoal is another hot topic in the South China Sea. It is also known as the traditional fishing spot of the Filipinos. Aside from its wealth, it is also important due to its potential to be a military base that can control the South China Sea. If China steals the Escalating Shoal, it is likely to be used to build artificial islands like what they did in one part of the South China Sea, to place missile sites, naval piers, and radar installations. However, the Philippines does not allow this, especially since the Escalating Shoal is within the Exclusive Economic Zone, or EEZ, of the country, which is only 130 miles away from Luzon. For many years, China's aggressive actions against the Philippine ships continued after the declaration of the Permanent Court of Arbitration in the Hague, Netherlands, that there is no legal basis for China's territorial occupation of the West Philippine Sea. The tension intensified, especially in 2024. According to Antonio Trillanes, former Navy and Senator official, the relationship between the Philippines and China is currently in the worst state, while Teresita, a well-known leader in the civic sector, said it is about to completely collapse. The series of incidents in the sea brought the relationship between the two countries to a critical stage. In the summer of 2023, tensions between the Philippines and China began. In August 2023, the China Coast Guard, or CCG, bombed the Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, in the South China Sea. In addition, the Chinese ships made dangerous movements around the PCG ships that escorted supply ships towards the second Thomas Shoal. In September, the PCG removed an almost 180-inch floating barrier blocking the waterway leading to the Scarborough Shoal, where more than 50 Philippine fishing boats were stranded. Next October, a CCG ship and a supply boat were bombed by the military near the second Thomas Shoal, which caused damage to both ships. The incidents did not stop because only this November, China used the water cannon again on a Philippine supply ship. The next month of December, it happened again. But this time, General Romeo Browner Jr., the head of the Philippine Armed Forces, was hit inside a supply boat. Browner was delivering Christmas gifts, food, and other supplies to Philippine sailors in the BRP Sierra Madre. The incidents of attack continued using the water cannon until 2024. On March 5th, the CCG bombed a supply boat again, which damaged the windshield and injured 4 Philippine crew members. In April, a PCG vessel, the BRP Malapusca, was almost hit by a CCG ship in the second Thomas Shoal. The incident was even caught on camera because the Philippine ship China did not stop despite the public's awareness of their actions. A week after the incident, the BRP Bagache and a ship of the Bureau of Fisheries of the Philippines. The Philippine ships were prohibited from flying to avoid a situation that seemed to be targeted by China. But on June 17th, the most serious incident of the CCG bombing was a Philippine supply ship heading to the second Thomas Shoal. Not only was it bombed, but the CCG personnel entered the ship and destroyed the equipment and took weapons and cell phones of the Philippine personnel. The Philippine Navy's crew were injured as well as a missing adult. Although there was a negotiation to ease tensions, the biggest ship of the China Coast Guard was found again in the second Thomas Shoal just one day after the negotiations. This ship is a 12,000-ton ship called the Monster, the largest ship of the Coast Guard in the world. It has been sailing for a long time and has been sailing inside the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines for several months. It is clear that China is continuing to exert pressure on the Philippines to suppress it. This strategy is part of China's broader plan called "kill the chicken to scare the monkey," a Chinese saying that refers to the use of action against the weaker to scare the stronger enemy. In the context of the relationship between China and the Philippines, the stronger enemy is America. However, it seems that China is losing control of the situation and is not able to use its desired domination in the West Philippines. In fact, it seems that the Philippines is no longer afraid of China's moves. Because only then, in 2022, there was a big change in the government of the Philippines under the new president. This is President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Remember the time of former President Rodrigo Duterte? He was often criticized for his alleged follow-up to China, where he was accused of colluding with President Xi Jinping to maintain the status quo in the South China Sea. President Duterte even criticized the decision of the arbitration as unimportant and just a piece of paper that angered many Filipinos. In Marcos's appointment in 2022, there was a clear change in the Philippines' policy on China. In Marcos's remarks, he could have allowed China to meddle, especially in the matter of the Philippines' right to the ocean. In September 2023, at the ASEAN summit, Marcos gave a statement that although the Philippines is not looking for trouble, it is the duty of their sovereignty to defend it and the right to the South China Sea. In 2023, Defense Secretary Gilberto Chodoro Jr. announced his bold opinion against China. He called it a bully because of the continuous acquisition of territories in the West Philippine Sea. According to Chodoro, it's not just like China stole the country's lunch money, but also the entire lunch bag. Sit and be the enrollment in the school, a deep symbolism of widespread abuse and bullying by China. Even though the Philippines continue to protest against China, like what President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said, more than 100 protests have been submitted. But they need to make more concrete steps. That's why in 2024, Marcos approved a nearly $4 billion fund for defense, which is more than 40% higher than last year. Marcos also announced a $35 billion plan for military modernization in the next 10 years, which will primarily focus on strengthening the Philippine Navy, Air Force, and Army. Included in the new equipment is the HIMARS, or High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, a mobile rocket launcher known for its success in the Battle of Ukraine. Its system was used by the defense of the country, namely the SSM-700K Sea Starship launch cruise missiles. In addition, the Philippines also purchased the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile from India, which is considered the fastest missile in the world. Each BrahMos battery has 4 launchers and 3 missiles that can reach 180 miles. And in 2024, the country completed 4 of its batteries, the first to be placed in the western Luzon. It does not mean that the Philippines will have a decade of missiles against China, but the existence of these new weapons is an excellent way of defense and deterrence. If there is an armed clash, these missiles can provide a strong defense against any aggression. Along with the modernization of the military, Marcos also deepened the alliance of the Philippines with America. In 2024, there are 7 military bases of America in the Philippines, 4 of which were added after he became president. Included in the bases are Antonio Bautista Air Base and Balabac Islands in Palawan, Basa Air Base in Pampanga, and other strategic locations near Taiwan and Spratly Islands. The presence of these bases provides a way for America to maintain stability in the Indo-Pacific region and ensure the protection of their allies. Among the achievements of America is the shipment of their Typhoon mid-range missile system to Luzon, the first time it was deployed to Asia since the Cold War. Military exercises such as Balikatan, which means shoulder to shoulder, strengthen cooperation between America and the Philippines. In 2024, Balikatan was led by more than 16,000 military personnel from America, Philippines, Australia, and France to assist in maritime security, aviation, and cyberspace warfare. Aside from America, the Philippines also expanded cooperation with Japan, South Korea, and Australia. Japan agreed to provide radar systems and other military equipment, while South Korea provided FA-50 fighter jets and missile frigates. Meanwhile, Australia led the first joint sea and air patrol in the South China Sea with the Philippines. Despite the continuous threat from China, the Philippines did not intend to start a war. According to Marcos, the country just wanted peace and prosperity for all Filipinos, but it also maintained a strong defense to ensure the protection of the country's territory and rights. As the Philippines' defense, it remains to be seen if these actions will give deterrence to China or will only intensify tensions in the region. Don't miss out on future explorations and discoveries. Hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated with our new content. Your journey of wonder continues with every video. Stay connected and engaged on social media. Continue the conversation, follow us. Thank you for being a part of the Have You Ever Wondered community. Keep wondering, keep discovering. Until next time.